Hi, this is my app, Edward, for the app competition. The next stage of our app was to develop the concept. To develop the concept, firstly, we went into groups and thought of some idea by doing a brainstorming activity. We all came up with ideas, and then we had to choose an individual idea. My idea was to create an app that would show educational buildings where they are on the map, and what and give some information about the building. And then I came up with a name. I used a bit of a play on words, and I made Edward the name for an educational guide. The next stage of the app would be to choose the audience. The audience that I chose was adults. Also, people leaving college could also use it if they were looking into universities and things like that. For the adults, it would be useful for when they have children. They can look through different schools that they want the children to go to. The key need for the target audience was to make sure that we had something which would show them different educational buildings we say they can select. Deciding what the app will do is the next part for creating the app. Basically, you have to decide what features I want you to include into the app. One feature I included into the app was where you can take pictures of an educational building, and using the app, you'd be able to collect information about the building and feed it back to you through your app. Also, there is a GPS option which allows you to find where the educational building is on the map, and it will give you directions to where this building is. Choosing the device and platform wasn't really too hard for me. I chose that I'd be using a smartphone to put my app onto. The platform wasn't hard either. iOS is easier for integration with the size, and we only have to create it for the size of the iPhone. All iPhones are similar size, and if I was to do it for the Androids on different phones, or the Blackburn, the Samsung, all different size grids, which are making integration a lot harder. The platform would be iOS 4 or iOS 5. That means it would be able to integrate with both of the operating systems that you use, as not everyone has iOS 5 at the moment. The key features of mine would be it would be touch screen. It has to connect with the internet in places as well. Also, there would be a camera so you could take pictures of educational buildings, and that would be able to feed back information. The key features of the iOS is like radio buttons, their slide unlocks, the cameras, and all the features like that. Before creating the app, I had to do a bit of research. The research that I took was to have a look to see if there was any similar apps to mine, and see them to make sure that mine was different. I had a look around and I couldn't find any that were that similar to my app, so I thought it would be a good concept to go ahead with my app. For my app, I will make sure that I will be putting it onto the iTunes store, because iTunes is the store that is used to download apps and music for the iPhone. Promoting the app will be very important to me, and to keep users interested once it's been released, I will be adding new features into it and changing it about a bit. We'll be adding any new information to any of the educational buildings that are on there. To promote it, I'll be promoting it on websites, paying for us to advertise on websites. Also, the user reviews on iTunes will come in very handy for that as well. Loads of good reviews on there, just hopefully give us a good promotion for the app. There will be many different costs involved in creating this app, and the first one would be development cost. Using the iPhone app, it means it should be more straightforward to build than using Android, as the screen size should be easier, the buttons all set out. But there is one problem, is with iOS 5 is out, but half the people are still running iOS 4 on their iPhones, which might make it a bit more complex, but shouldn't be too much of an issue. Using the costing table, I want to say what the cost to create this app should be. Well, the user interface complexity would be pretty low, which is standard navigation, static buttons and images. But with back-end complexity, it would be medium, as it would use maps for finding the educational building. Also, the device integrity complexity would be medium, as it would integrate with some of the standard hardware, which would be the camera. So overall, my score would be 5 using the costing chart, and it should come to about 11,500 Great British pounds to create. The other costs that are for me to consider would be development costs, the distribution plan, the post-launch updates and stuff for the thing, maintaining the app, and any internal resources that we need. For the app, I was considering using their subscriptions. Basically, a school or educational building will be able to subscribe their college and school to be on the app, and that way we'll be able to give the app to sell the app free to the people that want to use it. Designing the app was very important to the way the app would work. I had to remember to respect the size of the screen, as less is more. You don't want too much, you'll be clog up the screen and people won't like it. Also, it's no point trying to renovate all the controls. Most people know how to use the iOS controls already, so what I try to do is integrate some of the iOS tools into my app. Also, there will be error messages as well if there's any problems, so they can get back. Loads of back buttons so they can get back to previous pages, and there will also be a search bar which will use the iOS keyboard for when you're searching for the educational buildings. To conclude the video, I'll be showing you straight through the app. This will be a simple route all the way through.